Hey everyone, back again. Welcome back to another video review. This time, we're going to be taking a look at probably one of the most inspirational movies that I think that everyone has ever seen, and one that should be enjoyed for life. Let's begin, shall we? As with most video reviews, I am joined by Mr. Deratiform himself. Hello? Optimus, where are the Transformers? Remember them from the last review? Oh, about that, yeah, they're on vacation, so I'll be back soon. Oh, okay, I see. Which, funny enough, it's actually the main theme of this review. What is? Today's review, we're going to be discussing about a movie that is so magical, inspirational, and very anticlimactic. Whoa. Are you talking about what I think you're talking about, Optimus Prime 2471? Yes, I am. We are talking about Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Ah, yes, that's right. I forgot about that review. Thanks for reminding me. But first, we must go through those little nitpicky things before we get into the meat and potatoes of the review.
The movie was written, produced, and directed by Randolph Croft, and was released on July 14th, 2000 in the United Kingdom, and on July 26, 2000 in the United States of America. And Canada as well, for those of you Canadians, much like myself.
Let's start with the intro.
And the intro begins with Mr. Conductor introducing both Thomas and the island of Sodor. But from the visual standpoint of things, all the colors, all of the greatness of this movie shows just from the very first scene. It's so good. Like really, if you haven't seen this movie, you are in for a surprise. We are then introduced to Thomas and Gordon. Thomas, who in the movie is voiced by Edward Glenn, and Gordon, who is voiced by Neil Crone. So, basically, Gordon complains to Thomas, who does arrive late, and about everything and whatnot. So Thomas replies to Gordon that he's being bossy, and he is in charge of collecting Mr. Hunter, who is looking after the railway, while Sir Topham Hatt, who is not featured in the movie, is on vacation. Obviously, it's not in the movie. So, Gordon claims that Mr. Conductor is really not necessarily needed, but, obviously, as Diesel 10 whooshes by, with a lot of dirt and dust and whatnot, changes his mind after he passes by and claims that he has a job that needs to be finished.
Well, that was very fast. And not to mention, very life-threatening, if I may add.
Later on afterwards, Thomas is talking to James at Tippin's sheds, talking about collecting Mr. Conductor and whatnot. James, meanwhile, is preoccupied with trying to swat a fly out of his face. As they're having a conversation, Diesel 10 rolls by and voices his plan to destroy a lost engine, and thus all the steam engines that are on Sodor. James, surprised and confused, doesn't know what the hell's going on. But Thomas is worried, and he goes off to find Mr. Conductor. Meanwhile, at Shinington Station, Billy Two Feathers arrives and talks to Patch, who is played by Cody McMains. Two Feathers, played by Russell Means, gives a map with some strange lines on it to Patch. Patch then heads out to Ruffle Mountain to see Burnett Stone, played by the ever-so-famous Peter Fonda. A long time ago, Burnett shared a secret, but with his only childhood friend and future wife, young Tasha, who is played by Laura Bauer. Patch finds Burnett, who reveals the engine's past. Her name is Lady, and she had been sealed in Muffle Mountain since long ago, Diesel 10 nearly destroyed her. Burnett has fixed her up, but still needs coal. You know, this is very interesting, Optimus Prime. You see, I find this is a bit of a love connection with Burnett and all that's going on. But storing an engine in a mountain? That's like prison, for God's sakes.
I mean, really? A promise to take a special person of yours on a ride on an engine someday? That's very cool and all, I get the purpose. But storing it in a mountain? That's clearly unorthodox in real life. Well, yeah, true, Doratiform, but you know, some mountains are unpredictable than others, correct? Oh yes, that's right. How stupid of me to think of that.
Anyways, we move along to Diesel 10, who is voiced by Neil Crone, meets up with Splatter and Dodge, who, in the movie, Splatter and Dodge, Splatter is voiced by Neil Crone, and Dodge is voiced by Kevin Frank. Anyways, so Diesel 10 meets up with Splatter and Dodge, and tells him about his plan to destroy the lost engine, and the Splatter and Dodge reports that Mr. Conductor is coming to Soda, so Diesel 10 decides to add him into the mix and destroys him as well. So, as Mr. Conductor is leaving Shining Time, he has some problems with his gold dust trying to teleport. But he soon meets Thomas on Soda, and he talks to him about all his problems and whatnot. Thomas becomes a little bit concerned for Mr. Conductor about his gold dust because, you know, he just really wants to be the same, you know what I'm saying?
Ah yes, we know what you're saying, Optimus Prime 2471.
Elsewhere, Burnett is looking at a painting of Lady, and starting to have doubts in the belief of magic due to the failure of guarding her. Elsewhere, Burnett's granddaughter Lily prepares to visit him. Back into the sheds, Thomas, James, and Gordon start to argue about who should have taken Mr. Conductor, but unbeknownst, Splatter and Dodge are spying on them. And they tease Thomas until Harold flies by and starts spreading sneezing powder on everything.
Sneezing powder? Like, what the hell? Like, is that even in existence? Unfortunately, Doratiform, it is. Sorry. What? You can't be serious! There must be some logical explanation for this! Well, I have the logical explanation right here. First, well, it refers to a group of powders or substances that include seizing when someone is exposed to them. It's just usually done as a practical joke or a prank to an unsuspecting victim. You might want to keep this out of the reach of children. They're especially vulnerable. They have been linked to poisoning, dipepsa, fainting. It contains alkaloids. Yeah. Basically, this is the information right here. So, yeah. Like, no joke. Oh, thank goodness. Well, might as well stay away from that, wherever it's stored.
Elsewhere, at Nafford, Mr. Conductor reads the note that Sir Topham Hatt left him behind while he was on vacation. After trying on the top hat and returning it, he notices the portrait of Sir Topham Hatt looking very upset, if you know what I mean.
A portrait? Alive in Thomas? Interesting. Like, this is kind of like the Mona Lisa, eh? Well, Doratiform, I guess you could say it's kind of that. I mean, really, like, Sir Topham Hatt, like, basically wants to give the instructions to him after the portrait becomes angry. Know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, my old friend. Now let's continue.
That night, Mr. Conductor and all the other engines are fast asleep at Tismuth's sheds. And suddenly, Diesel 10 creeps up and destroys the left side of the sheds with his claw, which he names it Pinchy?
I mean, seriously, like, come on. Why would you call a weapon of yours a cutish name? A very, very cutish name. Like, I don't understand. My sentiments exactly.
Anyways, Mr. Conductor tries to shoo Diesel 10 away and says, "See ya," and blows his whistle. But suddenly, he's run out of gold dust. Diesel 10, very pleased with himself, tells Mr. Conductor of the lost engine's whereabouts. However, Mr. Conductor frightens Diesel 10 away with a bag of sugar.
Sugar, used to not only cook food, but scare diesel engines away. Yeah, that's very surprising. Like, I can't believe that you can actually frighten somebody with sugar, let alone a diesel engine.
Diesel 10, scared by this, threatens Mr. Conductor and leaves the sheds. Thomas and Percy are worried about Mr. Conductor and ask him if everything's okay. But Mr. Conductor, voicing his concern about the gold dust, tells the engines to go back to sleep. Later that night, Mr. Conductor has a nightmare of Shining Time Station in ruins, with Stacy Jones, played by Diddy Khan, all in dismay. Realizing that his universe is in danger, he goes out and searches for more gold dust. The next morning, Mutt goes to Lily's hometown with Billy, knowing that Lily is the only reason to help Mr. Conductor. But Lily has to go to Shiny Time Station first to meet someone special. So, unbeknownst to Lily, Mutt directs her onto the wrong train.
Well, this should get interesting, shouldn't it? Yes, it really should be interesting. Always trust dogs. They can lead you to somewhere or something very special in the end.
Anyways, back on Sodor, Mr. Conductor is brushing James's nose. Why? Because it's itchy.
Yeah, like seriously, Mr. Conductor like scratches James's nose with a brush. And yeah, if he were to use his hands to scratch his nose, I'd be pretty grossed out at that. Same here. Do you want me to give a demonstration to the audience of how to scratch your nose? Yeah, well, you know, Doradiform, that's good offer, but no thanks. Don't want to gross out the younger audience and some of the older audience as well.
Okay then. So, anyways, Mr. Conductor tells James to go do his work and goes out to the windmill in search for more gold dust. Unfortunately, he gets lost.
Surely it must have been his low supply of gold dust. Or was it amnesia suffered during the nightmare? Most likely it would have been the low supply of gold dust, I think.
Elsewhere, the engines are having a meeting in the siding. James tells Thomas to say it, not spray it, after Thomas sneezes. Bertie passes by and tells everyone to smile. But the engines have their own concerns. Thomas, worried, goes off to find Mr. Conductor.
Ah yes, the Rescuing Alec Baldwin and Others Committee. It is responsible, reliable, and really useful, 100% guaranteed every time.
Anyways, Mr. Conductor tries a carrot and a stick of celery to make him think straight. He thinks of his beach-loving cousin Junior, who has used up most of his gold dust as well. So, he decides to contact him via flowers and tells him to go to Shiny Time Station and get his emergency backup whistle. And then he tells him to go to Sodor and warns him not to talk to anyone about the magic buffers, but before he can say anything else, the line goes dead. Meanwhile, Lily arrives at Shining Time, and Mutt barks at her to get off the train. Lily finds the station empty and meets Junior. After a very brief conversation, Lily picks up some of the gold dust Junior leaves behind. Back on Sodor, Mr. Conductor is sleeping by a bush when he has another nightmare about his universe in danger. He wakes up hearing Thomas calling his name. Mr. Conductor tries to reply, but Thomas cannot hear him. Lily meets Stacy, who takes her to Burnett. They meet up and head off to Muffle Mountain. That night, Burnett and Lily hear Lady's whistle coming from the mountains. Pat, who is outside with his horse, also hears it as well.
Well, that was freaky. Yeah, for those of you Thomas the Tank Engine fans and train fans, don't expect to hear train whistles beneath the mountain anytime soon.
That night, Percy's delivering the mail around Sodor, who meets up with Thomas at Nafford. They talk about Mr. Conductor and conclude that he travels to Sodor on the Magic Railroad, as seen earlier in the movie. Diesel 10, overhearing them from another location, hears them and goes to the scrapyards to tell Swider and Dodge his plan. Toby, who's with Thomas and Percy, goes out to investigate what the heck is going on. He interrupts them by ringing his bell. Diesel 10 tries to catch him with his claw, but ultimately his claw crashes through the roof, and the shed flattens Swider, Dodge, and Diesel 10, the threesome.
Luckily no one was hurt, but prides were shattered that night. I guess you could say that again.
After that, the diesels were pretty much kept in shape for now. The engines were right on track, with a nice little musical by Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell of the Really Useful Engine, which, of course, is a musical. So after that, Thomas finds Henry with a bad cold, and offers to get some special Island of Sodor coal he refers to, also known as Welsh coal, to make him better, much like in Season 1. But while collecting them, there are 6 trucks, but he fails to notice the 6th one rolling away on him into the magic buffers. Freddy passes by and greets Thomas, and it's now 5 trucks. Thomas becomes confused. Afterwards, Thomas tells Percy about the missing truck. They both realize that the buffers where the truck disappeared are the ones that lead to the Magic Railroad. Thomas tells Percy to guard the buffers, while he goes to find Mr. Conductor.
As they say in real life and in movies, we divide and we conquer. The next scene, though, is kind of survival of the fittest, if you know what I mean.
Elsewhere, Mr. Conductor is wandering aimlessly on the viaduct, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Diesel 10 appears. Mr. Conductor is captured by Diesel 10 in his claw, and is dangled over the viaduct. Diesel 10 reveals about the knowledge he knows about the buffers, and he threatens to drop Mr. Conductor if he doesn't reveal the exact location of where the buffers are, the Magic Railroad, and of course, Lady. Mr. Conductor has a pair of pliers with him, but Diesel 10 shakes his claw, and they're right in front of a series of tubes. Diesel 10, as usual, counts to 10 before dropping him and all that. And Mr. Conductor manages to get his pliers just in time to cut one of the tubes on Diesel 10's claw, thus catapulting him to the windmill. There, he sees the words, "Stoke up the magic in the mountain, and the lady will smile," then watch the swirls that spin so well.
That was clearly survival of the fittest right there. Indeed, I would have a few sacks of flour cushion my fall any day of the week.
Elsewhere, Diesel 10 tells Spider and Dodge the failure of the plan of destroying Mr. Conductor. Spider and Dodge tease him, but then Diesel 10 says, "Enough's enough." So, he bangs his claw onto the coal hopper he's under, and coal splashes all over him. James, Gordon, and Henry laugh at him, Diesel 10 becomes angry, and Splatter and Dodge become worried.
Coal ruins your day every single time you think of things negatively. Or if you fail to accomplish what you personally want to accomplish.
Back on Muffle Mountain, Lily is introduced to Patch, who offers her a horse ride to Shiny Time, which she gladly accepts. There she meets Junior again, who after a brief conversation, takes her to Soda via the magic buffers.
I actually like this scene. You get to fly on magic gold dust through the magic railroad and come out to the island of Soda, where it's just so good. I actually like it. I agree, but where's the accommodations when flying on gold dust?
There, they meet Thomas, pulling Annie and Clarabelle, who agrees to help. Their conversation, though, is a little bit interesting with a little bit of a prior history between Thomas and Mr. Conductor Jr.
Yeah, I mean, like, the history kind of involves with Junior throwing party poppers down Thomas's funnel, and thus Thomas didn't like it, though at the time it was kind of a laugh, and, you know, Thomas kind of took that as an offense. Ah, yes. We all know what you're saying, my friend.
So after that interesting conversation, and with Lily introducing herself to Thomas, Thomas leaves Annie and Clarabelle behind, and together the three of them find Mr. Conductor at the windmill. Mr. Conductor tells Junior and Lily about the clue to the gold dust, but however, he doesn't really remember the whole clue from earlier. So after Mr. Conductor fails to remember the whole clue from earlier, Junior and Mr. Conductor have a conversation when the telephone rings, which of course is the flowers from earlier. Junior picks up the phone, and on the phone is Sir Topham Hatt. Mr. Conductor then tells Sir Topham Hatt about the whole situation, and then promptly hangs up.
Flowers, not only to smell and admire, but calling people in case of an emergency or other purpose whatsoever. I kind of like that. It kind of fits in with the setting with the movie very well.
After that interesting phone call, Lily is introduced to Mr. Conductor. But unbeknownst to them, Junior climbs under the sail for fun, but all of a sudden, the wind picks up, and with enough force, Junior is flung onto the back of Diesel 10, and he charges away, leaving everyone in dismay.
Windmills, not only used to make flour, but to solve riddles and cause havoc. Yeah, the scene is kind of very funny, exciting, and mostly very dramatic.
As the sun sets over Muffle Mountain, Burnett tells Patch the whole situation with Lady and the coal. But that night, back on Sodor, Percy goes out to guard the buffers. He finds Splatter and Dodge at the magic buffers, but they can't decide which to go first. Scared by the birds, Splatter and Dodge decide to go out tomorrow. They decide to postpone the attack. Percy, witnessing it all, races to warn Thomas.
Well, that scene was kind of spooky. Yeah, my sentiments exactly.
Mr. Conductor and Lily camp out with Thomas. After a conversation, they realize that Burnett may hold the key to the clue of the gold dust. Back at Muffle Mountain, Burnett reveals to Patch that Lady is magic, and they realize that the railroad is vanishing. Burnett also reveals that he needs to know the secret of running Lady now, before it's too late.
Then what are we waiting for? Lily must get back to Muffle Mountain before it's too late. And that's exactly what happened.
Back on Sodor, Percy meets up with Thomas. They both decide that they must get Lily back to Muffle Mountain before Diesel 10 destroys the magic railroad. Mr. Conductor asks Thomas if he can take Lily back to Muffle Mountain. Thomas says he'll try, and both of them set off. Though on the way to the magic buffers, they encounter a tumbleweed that talks.
No, like seriously, I'm not even kidding you. The tumbleweed actually is talking to Thomas while he's puffing through the magic buffers. Let me remind you that he also talked to Percy a few scenes earlier. Remember? Oh yes, thank you, Deratiform. I almost forgot. Sorry. That's alright. Tumbleweeds, not only used for scenery, but also used for other uses as seen in the film.
So after that interesting encounter with the tumbleweed, Thomas and Lily enter the Magic Railroad. While journeying through the Magic Railroad, they discover the missing truck. Lily, realizing the connection between the truck and the clue, asks Thomas to collect the truck. So Thomas reverses back to get the truck, and they soon arrive on Muffle Mountain. Lily leaves to find Burnett, leaving Thomas all worried and scared. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows Thomas down the hill and back onto the Magic Railroad through a mysterious portal at the bottom of the mountain.
This is starting to become very, very interesting, and it's kind of going somewhere. Though, I like the setting of Thomas going through the magical portal at the bottom of the mountain. It's so epic, so exciting. It's very, very good. Yeah, it kind of makes it entertaining for the children, and more importantly, other people with other age classes as well.
Lily finds Patch, who takes her to Burnett's workshop. Lily figures out only the special of Island of Sodor coal, or Welsh coal, can make ladies steam again. So, she asks Patch to collect the coal from the truck at the top of the mountain.
Now we're getting somewhere, eh, Optimus Prime 2471? You're right, Deratiform. We are getting somewhere.
Meanwhile, back on Sodor the very next day, Diesel 10, with Junior still on his back, races into the smelters where he encounters James. Diesel 10 stops a few inches in front of James, causing Junior to fly head over heels onto James's cab.
Well, that was a dramatic entrance. Yeah, you could say that again.
Junior tries to whistle both of them out, only to discover that he too is out of gold dust. Realizing that his sparkle is empty, Diesel 10 forces the two into the melting pit behind them.
Okay, that's a little bit extreme. I agree. It's a little bit extreme. Mostly for the younger audiences.
As Diesel 10 starts forcing James and Junior into the melting pit behind them, Junior prays that it is now or never. As James and Junior are being forced backwards, James' tender, with enough force, causes the buffers behind them to fall into the melting pit.
Whoa. Yeah, this part of the scene is very dramatic.
Thankfully, Junior is able to use the last of his extra gold dust to teleport himself and James away, leaving Diesel 10 very surprised.
Well, thank goodness. At least we got that scene out of the way. Same here. I mean, you can use gold dust to escape pretty much anywhere, anytime, in any dangerous situation. Smelters. Not only are they used for burning up scrap metal, but also used for other uses, mostly the ones seen particularly in this scene of the film.
The two arrive near the buffers, where Mr. Conductor is there waiting. James and Junior celebrate their victory. Yahoo! Hoo-yah! Wait a minute!
I understand they're celebrating and all, but is hoo-yah a real word, and what is the definition of it anyways, Deratiform? Well, first of all, yes, it is a real word. Not joking at all. Secondly, it is a real definition, and I'm going to read it to you right now. Hoo-yah, the definition, is essentially a big cheer when celebrating a big victory or big accomplishment in any situation, most of which are dangerous, as seen in the film Thomas and the Magic Railroad, when James Jr. facing Diesel 10 and the smelter's yard / smelting pit behind them. It is also Yahoo said backwards, but rearranging the letters and whatnot. So, basically, this information I have is true. I'm not even joking you. Well, thank you, Deratiform. Thank you for the information and all that. I'll keep that in mind next time when I celebrate a big victory or big accomplishment.
Anyways, Mr. Conductor and Junior, at this point of the movie, are out of gold dust. But both of them refuse to give up hope.
If you don't give up, good things will happen. If you do give up, though, however, let's just say it will not be a pleasant result.
By now, Burnett Stone has finally got Lady to steam, and along with Lily, Patch, and Mutt, they set off into the Magic Railroad. The Magic Railroad, receiving energy from Lady, comes back to life. Lady's face appears, and the team meet up with Thomas before appearing on Sodor, where they reunite with the two conductors. As Thomas starts to meet up with the others, Diesel 10, Splatter, and Dodge appear out of nowhere. So, Thomas and Lady have to outrun Diesel 10. Burnett climbs into Lady, and the engines set off. Diesel 10 starts to give chase, but Splatter and Dodge, however, at this point are fed up with Diesel 10's ways, so they abandon him. Mr. Conductor warns him about the collapsing viaduct, and just as the engines run away, the conductors realize that Lady is a part of the clue to the source of the magic gold dust. Diesel 10 starts giving chase to Lady, Burnett, and Thomas. Burnett yells to Diesel 10 that the magic you refuse to believe in will get the better of you, but Diesel 10 ignores this and starts giving chase anyways, going through bridges, the watermill, tunnels, and even over bridges. The chase finally approaches the now very unstable viaduct. As Lady and Burnett pass, a gap appears on the middle of the viaduct. However, both Lady and Thomas are able to jump the gap just in time before the supports beneath the tracks collapse into the water below, and all three of them celebrate.
Well, that was an unexpected turn of events. I mean, going from nearly dying in a melting pit from the smelters, to reviving an engine, to being chased by a diesel with a mechanical car, going over bridges and watermills and tunnels and even more bridges and going over an unstable viaduct. Like, what more? What more could I say about this epic chase scene? It's so good. I agree with you on this one, Deratiform. Like, this chase scene is so epic. Like, really, the viaduct being unstable, and then, wow. What more could I say about the chase scene? It's just awesome. It blows my mind every time I see it.
But Diesel 10, however, is not so fortunate, as he cannot stop in time. He falls off, but however, he's able to grab the sleeper above him with his claw. But he doesn't last long, as it snaps, and he falls off into the sludge barge below. He looks on the bright side by saying, "It's a nice time of the year for a cruise."
At least Diesel 10 got his cruise, as he claims. I agree. He deserved it at this point of the movie.
Thomas, Lady, and Burnett return, where they and the rest of the team work out on the answer to the riddle. Lily mixes water from the well with golden shavings from the Magic Railroad and tosses them into the air, where they form into gold dust. The conductors, very excited and delighted, resupply the whistles, while Thomas, on the other hand, thanks Lady for everything.
Well, they got their gold dust back. And now, we can celebrate.
Patch and Mutt go to look around, while Junior gives Lily some gold dust. Junior tells Mr. Conductor that he wants to work now, so Mr. Conductor gives him his hat and sends him to a railroad with palm trees and sunny spells. After Junior leaves, Sir Topham Hatt calls and says that he is on his way back, so Mr. Conductor blows his sparkle and sets out to welcome him. Lily offers her gold dust to Burnett, who sprinkles it on her bluebird toy, and whispers that they will always remember their shining time together. With Lady and the Magic Railroad back to life, Shining Time is restored to its former glory, and Thomas happily pops home into the sunset.
And that is pretty much Thomas and the Magic Railroad. My thoughts on it, I thought it was very, very good overall, and I really enjoyed it. I agree. The hilarious comedy, the horrendous looking drama, the magicalness of it, it's just so well done. So between the two of us, we're giving this film a 10 out of 10. It's very good, and overall it's just well done. Yes, I'm aware of the changes. Before the film, I'm aware of the main villain, but I still enjoy it. And so do I. So that is Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I'd like to thank Doratiform for coming to do this review with me, and I'd also like to thank pretty much all my viewers and whatnot for watching this video. Well, I must be off for now. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle! So yeah, overall, I thought the movie was good. It was very entertaining. It was enjoyable. I mean, I could highly recommend this movie to anyone. It's a highly recommended movie. Yes, it's like a 12, 13-year-old film, but it's still enjoyable. Now, now the remaining cast members in this film, Alec Baldwin as Mr. Conductor, and the narrator, of course. And then, of course, Mara Wilson as Lily, Michael E. Rogers as Junior, Laura Hayler as Lily's mother, Jared Wall as the young brunette, even though we don't see him, but that's okay. Those are the remaining cast members, human-wise. The remaining voice cast members, I believe, are Neil Crone as Diesel 10, Splatter and Gordon, get that. Colm Feore as Toby, okay. Kevin Frank as Dodge, Birdie, Harold, and Henry, which, you know. Shelley Elizabeth Skinner as Annie and Clarabelle, and Britt Allcroft as Lady. Now there are a couple others that I'm left out there, but I'm going to get to that in a second, because this is kind of a thing that annoys some people, and I'm going to touch on that. But anyways, overall the film is highly recommended. Like I said, between me and Doratiform, it's a 10 out of 10. It's an enjoyable movie. It's great, it's dramatic, it's a little bit scary, it's a little bit violent, yeah, I know, for the little kids. It's magical, it's just basically anything you wanted in a film. I mean, this could well be most likely a Disney film, but yes, it was made by Destination Films and Gullen Entertainment. But it should most likely be a Disney movie in the future. Now, I'd like to talk about a few issues that some people have with the film, and I'm just going to talk my own opinion, and I kind of agree with them. First issue, yes, P.T. Boomer was meant to be the original villain in the film. However, he was cut out of the film because test audiences claimed that he was too scary. So Diesel 10 obviously is the main villain. But in the original script, it was meant to be Diesel 10 as the sub-villain and P.T. Boomer is the main villain because P.T. Boomer has this thing with Burnett. So anyways, I think that Diesel 10 is well likely a main villain. I mean, yes, if you watch my Dave the Diesel's review, Diesel 10's the main villain. So no mention of P.T. Boomer in that movie whatsoever since it was CGI. But anyways, second issue, yes, of course, the voice cast and whatnot and all that, the changes and whatnot. But two particular ones that I think some fans hate is Susan Roman voicing James and Linda Ballatin voicing Percy. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Do I agree with this? Now, personally, I slightly agree. Slightly agree. And I'm going to tell you why. One, Michael Angelos was meant to voice James, but obviously sounded too old. Two, Percy needed to sound young. Third, James needed to sound a little bit arrogant and a little bit cocky. So, That's why they got females to voice James and Percy. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, yes, I enjoyed James screaming like hell when Diesel 10 entered the smelters with Junior on his back. But anyways, overall, my overall feeling, the film is great, like I said. It's awesome, it's energetic, it's entertaining, it's very, very well done. Yes, of course, there were a lot of major changes to the script and the film and the cast and the settings and whatnot, but overall, the film, just like it is, it's perfect. And Nostalgia Critic, if you're watching this, you better watch this video, because my video is, well, let's just say it's a big improvement over yours. I'm not saying it's better than yours, I'm saying it's a major improvement. Yours had a negative influence on Thomas, mine is a positive. So, I know you haven't watched the show, but I have, okay? So please, like you say, calm the fuck down. But anyways, so that's my video review of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I really hope you enjoy this. Yes, like I said, with all the changes and whatnot, but overall I still really enjoy it, even to this day. I mean, Doratiform even said it too, so. Anyways, that's my video review of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I really hope you enjoyed. If there's anything that I left out, just please put a comment or a video response below the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to comment on my videos. Don't forget to do any video responses. Don't forget to like the videos. I mean, it's just a well done film. I know there was just, yes, the graphics may look terrible, yes, the CGI and all that may look terrible, but what they did to make this film better, to make this film stand out and make it a film, it was just perfect. So, anyways, that's my video review of Thomas the Magic Railroad. I will see you all very soon, and yeah, so take care, see you soon, have a great day, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye. Now roll the credits.